Tonight, Prince George residents could be faced with a tax hike as high as 8% according to the city's Finance and Audit Committee. Plus, Bear Lake is in need of volunteer firefighters after the department had to suspend services. And the 5th annual Christmas Wish breakfast returned, proving to be a massive success yet again. Good evening, I'm Adam Burles, and thank you for joining us. Eddie is off tonight. New legislation around short-term rentals was introduced last month, and Council is hoping to opt out of the program. But the work will have to wait a little while longer. Cheryl Jan reports.
We have made significant investments to try to get people back into housing, try to get them the supports they need, the wraparound supports they need, so that they can get back into market rent, get back into employment, all speaker. And we've seen some success, but there's still a lot of people struggling. That's why taking steps like we did today around short-term rentals, another step to advance to get more housing back in the market.
Housing Minister Ravi Kahlon is referring to the Short-Term Rental Accommodation Act, which will give local governments stronger tools to enforce short-term rental bylaws and return short-term rental units to long-term rental markets. But Council discussed the plan for possibly opting out. A resolution before Council reads that Council directs staff to seek feedback from our tourism and housing sectors to prepare options for response, including the option to opt out of the Provincial Short-Term Rental Accommodation Act so as to be prepared to respond as soon as the option to do so becomes available.
Impetus was just our own experience with Airbnbs, but also the letters that we were getting to coming in, because people saying, wait a minute, if this goes away, if this option goes away for so many people like our health professionals and construction industry, and people coming into town to access services that take longer than just 1 or 2 hotel room nights, that's a big deal.
The general premise behind the legislation is to free up those short-term properties such as Airbnbs and put more housing stock on the market. Council essentially found the legislation short on details and not really relevant to this community.
The government is trying to look at things like we've got such a housing shortage, and I absolutely agree that we need to do something on it. And I think, you're in Victoria, you just don't quite get our market here.
However, Mayor Simon Yu says part of the work administration will do is looking at possibilities of more stringent oversight.
I would encourage the local Airbnb operators, perhaps they can form an association to advise the Prince George how we can work together to develop a appropriate bylaw to regulate this business.
Mayor Yu noted there aren't enough Airbnbs to make a dent on the local housing crisis.
Based on the number I have, I think we should leave the Airbnb or Expedia, the short-term rental alone for the time being, because we only talk about Prince George, 281 units. And yes, since 2019, after the COVID, we had a little bit more.
The legislation doesn't take effect until next May, and the city can't opt out until that time. In the meantime, administration says it will get the ball rolling on the process. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
With the final Finance and Audit Committee meeting of the year comes a better picture of what the tax situation may be, with things like increases to snow removal, increase in wages, demands on road rehabilitation, and general inflation. There needs to be a tax hike to simply run the city. But Finance and Audit Committee hashed through the fine details, starting at a 5.88% hike.
I don't want to scare everybody too bad. The number's 6.24%. We did tell them what service enhancements we'd be bringing. All of these relate to prior council approved resolutions or plans. So protective services is coming with a big ask for police, a big ask for fire with new members, new firefighters. If all of those got approved, it would be an extra 1.7%, which would take us to 7.94. What was discussed at Finance and Audit yesterday was the possibility of investing even more into the road rehabilitation levy to make sure that our roads are kept to a certain standard. And so the proposal was an additional $300,000. If all of that was done, then you'd add another 0.23% to that figure. So it could go quite high. The part of the report was saying that we're not unique. We're actually 4.5% behind inflation over the last 3 years.
Last week in Vancouver, a ceremony recognized 18 graduates, including the first critical care paramedics trained outside of Vancouver. The 3 advanced care paramedics furthered their training in Prince George as part of the new BC Emergency Health Service Initiative and are now critical care paramedics, which means they have the highest level of paramedic training. According to BCEHS, critical care paramedics work in specialized emergency patient care and transport for critically ill or injured patients across BC.
We even did some work with the Northern Medical Program, running simulations with some of those future physicians who will now be serving the same rural communities that we will be going to. If you want people in the north, you need to take people from the north and you need to train them here. It's not possible for them to be able to leave their families and their commitments to come out and do this. So I think investing in them here is the best way to do that.
I know we're a provincial service, but like being in a northern community and servicing the north, it was good to network with northern hospitals, especially the Prince George Hospital. It's like we were able to connect well with physicians and the nursing teams there. It was good to have it there, train there, work there, get experience there. It was a great addition to be able to train them.
The Bear Lake Volunteer Fire Department has been forced to suspend its services because of a shortage of trained volunteers. This move will leave many residents without fire protection or rescue services. Dave Branco has more.
70 kilometers north of Prince George along Highway 97 is the small community of Bear Lake. On Friday, December 1st, the regional district decided to suspend emergency response services from the fire hall.
Just as a result of just not having sufficient trained volunteer firefighters to respond to the calls. That difficult decision had to be made to suspend the emergency response service.
According to Regional District, the hall cannot meet provincial standards with the loss of volunteers.
We just thank those people who have stepped forward and who have been volunteering and who have been putting in numerous hours to keep the fire department operational to the extent that it has been, taking care of the equipment, taking care of the fire engines, making sure the fire department itself is clean and neat and ready for meetings and stuff. So we have a couple of very, very dedicated volunteers, and then those in the past who have volunteered and who have maybe felt that they're a little old to be volunteering still, and just those people have really kept things going.
The suspension will remain in place until the skill requirements are met.
So one of the things that we would recommend for homeowners, unfortunately as a result of this situation, which we hope is temporary, we do recommend that homeowners do reach out to their insurance provider to advise them of the change, just to make sure that they have appropriate coverage.
The hope is that more people from the community of Bear Lake will volunteer and join the training sessions, eventually reinstating them to respond to fire emergencies. In Bear Lake, Dave Branco, CKPG News.
One of Prince George's biggest charity events returned this morning, and to say it was a success would be an understatement. Tommy Osborne was there and brings us this report.
Drop a toy off and get a free breakfast. A simple concept, but one that's raised thousands of toys over 5 years for United Way and the St. Vincent de Paul Society to make sure every child can wake up to presents under the tree. Tuesday morning saw the return of the Christmas Wish Breakfast hosted by the Prince George Industrial Mutual Aid Committee and first responders, and it was a huge success.
The Prince George paramedics, they came in with a gurney full of toys. The firemen, they came in with a truckload full of toys. We've had amazing support from the local hockey teams. Just everybody, they've just opened their hearts so much for this event this year. It's just overwhelming.
It's not just first responders and organizations helping out. Community members came by in droves to donate toys, and given how everyone's wallets have been hit harder with increasing costs of living, Walsh is even more grateful to those who still found some extra cash to help deliver a Merry Christmas.
People are thinking about those a little bit less fortunate, even though they're struggling, with rising costs of everything. Inflation is crazy right now. They're still finding enough room in their pocketbooks and in their hearts to give back.
As for the first responders, they explain getting involved in events like this is an easy choice. As first responders, they're already all about public service, so this is another way to be involved in the community. Given that you may only see first responders in times of crisis, being able to give back during a positive moment is special for them too.
It gives us a chance to, answer questions, to engage with the kids that come into the community, right? To
to see a whole family come in with their 3 or 4 kids and mom and dad, and all the kids have a present and they put it underneath the tree, and then we get to engage with those people and that family and all these toys behind us. We hope that they just bring joy to some little boy or girl on Christmas morning that maybe didn't have that chance.
While event organizers and first responders are the one behind all this, they also do the same thing. It is impossible without the community who uses their hard-earned dollars to buy all these toys right here for everyone who needs it. And with how generous everyone has been this morning, there's no doubt in the event organizer's mind, we surpassed last year's toy total of 1,000, and it's all thanks to you. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
Winter is here, and with the slippier pathways, it's more important than ever to move slowly and carefully. We learn more on this week's To Your Health.
And now To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
El Nino is characterized by warm, dry winters, but when it does snow, that snow can quickly turn to ice and slush, leaving you at risk for a fall. Falls can not only cause physical injuries, but emotional damage as well.
People who fall once become quite afraid of going out and, doing things because they know of that risk. And so they can either avoid doing certain activities and things that maybe they really enjoy doing, or they'll do them, but being overly cautious can sometimes cause more harm than good. Falls obviously can cause concern to others, right? So, my mom fell last winter, and after her fall, we were all very worried anytime she left the house.
When traveling in winter, it's important to pay attention to your surroundings and plan ahead.
Think about the weather. Is it slippery out there? Check up the weather chart. And then you need to also plan an additional time to get to where you need to go. The winter period is not a time when you need to rush, you're in a hurry to catch the bus. You need to build in some extra time so that you can move at a pace that is acceptable. I talk about baby steps. I advise people take small baby steps because that's decreases your stride, but that increases your balance and stability in a slippery environment.
Wearing appropriate footwear is also important when navigating icy walkways.
For those who use walking aid, will have anti-ice slip spikes that they can put underneath that can help them to increase stability as they walk through.
Even if you try your best to prevent a fall, it can still happen. When it does, speaking with an occupational therapist can help you get back up and doing the things that you enjoy.
So when you have certain, injuries to your body, of course, we want to get you back moving and doing things that you want to do. So occupational therapists often focus on meaningful occupations, meaningful activities that you want to get back to doing. And I would say that as occupational therapists, sometimes we realize that, if the injury is something that's permanent or more long lasting, then we would want to find other ways of adapting to be able to do those things.
To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
The lowest gas price in Prince George is $1.51.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest gas price in British Columbia is in Quesnel at $1.49.9 per litre. Alberta currently has the lowest gas prices in the country at $1.27.5 per litre, while BC has an average price of $1.66.8 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The UMBC Timberwolves men's basketball team wrapped up their first half of the year with a sweep against UBCO this past weekend. Now it's into the Christmas break, sitting 6th in the Canada West standings and positioning themselves for a playoff berth. Anthony Correa has more.
The UMBC Timberwolves had a lot of change over this offseason, losing and gaining players like any team does. But with turnover means new chemistry. And the Timberwolves really took advantage, gelling with each other going all the way back to preseason. A big reason where they're at today.
The guys have come together. I think that through that preseason stretch, the guys really concentrated and put a lot of time in and kept a good mentality about them, about being growth mindset focused. And obviously, the preseason, wasn't wins and losses super successful for us, but we also know the preseason doesn't matter all that much, right? So it was about growth for us during that period, and we're kind of seeing the results of that now.
The men's basketball team sits 6th in the Canada West standings with a 5-3 record going into the Christmas break. It's looked like a different team, with younger players stepping up their games and making the jump from year 1 to year 2. But for UNBC veteran Chris Ross, he's really seen strides in a certain area from last year.
I definitely think it's ball movement. Like, we've got a great inside-outside game going, and I think that's because we got a couple guys who can really play inside. Josh, Gino, and Spencer for sure. And then we got some shooters on the outside and really plays well off each other, so that's definitely been the best part.
Now looking forward, the team will have 12 games in the second half of the year, with the first one coming at home against the winless Lethbridge Pronghorns. The next week, they face the undefeated Regina Cougars. The schedule shapes up like that a lot after the break. Regardless, this team has plenty of opportunities for playoff position.
We've got a lot of winnable games in there, a lot of really good, challenging games in there, and so it's going to be exciting to come to the NSC and watch us play. I think there's going to be a lot of really competitive games, and we're hoping that we can get to that playoff position. Get into playoffs with a favorable position that gives us good chance of having a good draw.
The top 12 teams during the regular season will qualify for playoffs, with the top 4 finishers receiving an automatic bye into the quarterfinals. Anthony Correa, CKPG News.
The TSX is down 34 points to close at 20,375. The Dow Jones is down 80 points to close at 36,124. And CN went down $1.32 to close at $159.29.
Good evening again, everyone. We are going to see a bit of a different story in terms of temperatures the next few days. So I hope you got outside and enjoyed the nice mild weather today. It was very, very mild out there. But getting back down to where we should be for this time of the year. So here's our satellite looking back at the day. Really pleasant out there. Lots of sunshine through most of our day today. And into tomorrow, we should still see that sunshine hanging on. A lot more cloud cover to the south of us. Futurecast doesn't show a lot of instability for our region, that's for sure. A lot of it is pockets of precipitation, some cells along the coastal sections and down through the southeast, but we should remain fairly dry for the next several days ahead. Cloudy with a few sunny breaks into the later part of the week, mainly sunny tomorrow. Temperatures in and around where they should be for this time of the year after a really, really subtropical kind of flow today. 7 degrees for Kamloops tomorrow, maybe a bit cooler than that, I think, down through the southern interior, but only by a couple of degrees. And this is where we'll sit, +1. Mainly sunshine up in Fort St. John. Going to see the beautiful sunshine as well. 3 degrees. It was very mild there as well today. Down through the Okanagan, we're seeing mild weather everywhere we look. Temperatures above freezing. And certainly by several degrees in some cases. East of Valemount, seeing some snow falling through the day tomorrow, some rain coming back towards the south coast, but all in all, not a bad Wednesday ahead. It'll be a bit unsettled down through Quesnel and McBride as well. 3 degrees, chance of precipitation in there, but everywhere else around our broadcast region will remain dry for the next few days. Vanderhoof +1, a little cooler in Burns Lake to -1 for your daytime high, but really not far off where we should be for this time of the year. So the west coast is dry, but a little bit of precipitation, maybe a brief chance here and there through the day tomorrow. But 4 degrees for Edmonton. We're looking at cloudy skies, 5 in Regina with a mix of sun and cloud. And then further east, -8 in Montreal. We're seeing a sun cloud mix over there, but it is still very, very cool and then quite unsettled as we get over towards the Maritime. So a bit of a cooler trend further east as you go throughout the country. The west, we're seeing the mild weather, the milder air in and around us. But again, as I mentioned, getting back down to kind of where we should be for this time of the year for the next few days. Sun cloud mix, though, it's going to be dry, everybody. We're not looking at much in the way of precipitation. A little blip here and there through some areas, and that will be the case in Burns Lake for Thursday. Kind of back and forth weather going forward. Better chance of snow for the weekend, or at least Saturday. But until then, it'll be a little cooler tonight and tomorrow, but lots of sunshine expected. Mackenzie, mainly clear and cool for the most part, but again, -2, dry weather, lots of sunshine, a bit more fog or low-lying cloud coming through for Thursday and Friday, just ahead of this next system on Saturday. So Saturday seems to be a good chance in many areas of some snow or some mixed precipitation, but certainly it is going to cool down a bit. -3 tonight in McBride, a little bit of snow expected at times, and then kind of that wintry mix for the day tomorrow. But your temperatures will be above 0, though, up to about 3, -2 with cloud cover cover Thursday, Friday. That's the break from the moisture. -2 in Quesnel. Mostly cloud cover tonight. Few chances of rain showers or snow showers in the morning. And then you're into a dry spell for Thursday and Friday at least. For us in Prince George, it's -4 overnight tonight. That's what we're looking at. +1 for the day tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. A very dry forecast for the next few days. Could see, though, some snow on Saturday.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
Hockey Canada has released their National Junior Team Selection Camp roster for the upcoming 2023 World Juniors. In a shocking decision, no Prince George Cougars have made the roster, including forward Riley Height, who currently leads not only the WHL but the entire CHL in points this year with 53. It's a head-scratching decision for Hockey Canada not to invite the Minnesota Wild prospect to the selection camp. There will be some Northern BC representation, however, as defenseman Tanner Mollendijk has been invited to the camp and looks to make the team for the tournament that kicks off on Boxing Day. We show you the best from Monday's sports in tonight's CKP3.
Let's start with something you don't see often in basketball, the 4-point play.
Halliburton trapped, off balance three, and he puts it in, and a chance at 4.
That would snowball into this.
They have to work quickly here. Throws in straight away, it's healed. That's good. And his pass broke it up. Halliburton ahead of the field. Neesmith.
And the Indiana Pacers with one of the biggest upsets in the NBA in-season tournament. Next, back and forth action from Monday Night Football.
3rd down and about 1.5 yards. Extra men on the rush. This one floated, caught by Chase, and he is gone. Touchdown Cincinnati as he takes it into the end zone. 3rd down and 9 here for Jacksonville. End zone and caught. Touchdown after the deflection. Parker Washington.
Well, both teams refusing to lose this game, but someone has to, which would lead to this.
He got it.
Evan McPherson with the clutch kick in overtime. The Bengals doing all this without Joe Burrow as one of the games of the year takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Hello everyone from the CKPG Today side. Got a little friend with me today because we're talking about teddy tossing technique ahead of the Prince George Cougars Teddy Bear Toss game this Saturday. It's going to be a great time. It's always one of the winter moments I look forward to here in town. Giving teddies a chance to head into some new hands, some kids in the region that could use a little friend this winter. So yeah, I've been practicing my teddy tossing and I figure I'll give it a go for you here. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. There you go. We're going to teach you how to do that today on the show.
Time for the next edition of the CKPG Festive Photo Contest, which is running for just 8 more days. So to start things, we have a submission from Lee, and the caption that was sent in with this photo is "Merry Christmas" from Graceland, Hayden, and Gru. Thank you, Lee, for sending this in. The prizes for the Festive Photo Contest are a $4,000 gift certificate from the Prince George Airport and Uniglobe Sunburst travel towards a WestJet nonstop flight, an all-inclusive vacation to Puerto Vallarta with a $1,250 prize pack from all of our sponsors. All you have to do to submit your festive photo is go to our website, ckpgtoday.ca, under the contest section. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, your last look is a pretty cute kitten. We'll keep it animal themed. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody.